What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. Today, guys, we're finally doing a video in regards to Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel, the most recent upcoming game for the Yu-Gi-Oh Master Rule format. And honestly, I still can't believe I haven't done a video in regards to this game. I mean, I've been very excited for Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel, and it's still weird that I haven't done a video on this, but we're gonna actually change that because recently, or I shouldn't say recently at this point because I'm kind of a little bit behind on this, as a little while ago, we got an announcement that this game is going to have a story mode included with this game, which is something I didn't know they were actually going to do or not, because obviously when we originally got this game for the first time, or we at least got the first viewing of this game, we thought that this was going to be the online simulator that everyone has wanted for a while. And although it still is that, in my opinion, they did went a little bit further by adding a story mode to it as well, which I'm very excited for, especially for the fact of this being a game that's not focused on the Yu-Gi-Oh animes. Obviously, we had games like Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution that was focused on the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, but with Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel, it has no ties to the anime whatsoever. So when it got announced that we were going to get a story mode for this game, it got me really curious because of what they could really do with a story mode for Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel, since this game isn't focused on the Yu-Gi-Oh anime or on anime characters in general, and I have to say that because of Yu-Gi-Oh's Saikyo card battle existing. So I was very excited when we got announced that there was going to be a story mode for this game, because what is the story mode going to be all about? Well, that's what we're going to be discussing in this video, and also I'm going to also talk about the card accessibility in this game as well, because that has been a big talking point when it comes to this game and has caused a lot of controversy from what I've seen, and I just kind of wanted to give my own take on it as well, but we're going to save that closer to the end of this video. But I think this is a long enough intro, so without further ado, let's get right into it. So, like I mentioned in the intro of this video, we got an announcement back at the end of September during one of Yu-Gi-Oh's events that there was going to be an included story mode that was going to be in the Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel game. And thanks to a post on YGO Organization, we essentially was able to get a grasp on what this story mode was going to be all about. So I'm going to read the post from YGO Organization. It states, there is a non-online solo player mod that seems to have story sceneries based on the storylines of the various themes in Yu-Gi-Oh, with the one being played by the reporter at the event being World Legacy. Clear missions to progress through the storyline. Also, we can tell Dual Terminal is another storyline available. So we get a Dual Terminal storyline included with this game, but which is pretty cool. And it seems like we're going to be getting a storyline based game that is focused on the stories of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. We know as Yu-Gi-Oh fans that when it comes to the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, especially more towards like archetype decks, like, you know, World Legacy, for example, which is a confirmed story mode deck that's going to be in Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel, it seems like they're going to take those storylines from the Yu-Gi-Oh card artworks and they're essentially going to put them into the story mode. And based off of the information we got, we know that World Legacy, Gem Knights, and Qliphorts are going to be 3 of the story mode options that you can play in Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel. And to me, this is very exciting. I've always been into the storylines of the Yu-Gi-Oh card artworks, and the fact that we have a game that's going to be based around those artworks and the stories that those artworks entail is super cool. And the fact that World Legacy, Gem Knights, and Qliphorts are going to get their own story modes is really cool, and I'm definitely very excited to see the World Legacy story, because honestly, this is probably one of the most well-known stories, in my opinion, when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! Stories, as it's probably one of the more massive stories when it comes to card artwork. So this one was like a no-brainer to actually get a story mode in this game, but also seeing Gem Knights and Qliphorts getting their own story mode in this game is really cool. Now, we don't know if these are going to be the only 3 story modes that you can actually play in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Hopefully that's not the case, because I would love to see them bring other archetypes and their storylines into the Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel game, and they can even do it for some of the newer archetypes. For example, they can do it for like Magikey. I think it would be really cool to kind of see the adventure of the normal monster. I can never remember that. It's like, it's Magikey, like something blaster or something like that. I can't remember the name of the normal monster for some reason, but they can essentially make a storyline or tell the storyline, you know, of how he was able to encounter the gun that you normally see in the card artworks for him, and essentially how he's able to access all these different weaponries and all these different like monsters. I say that more specifically for the fusion monsters, because we see him riding on different monsters in the fusion card artworks, and to kind of like see that storyline be played out in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel would be so cool. Or they can even do it for like an older archetype as well. Like maybe they can give a storyline for like Black Wings and maybe tell like their whole story of what that story has to tell. So that would be very cool if they're going to be able to do something like this, because it seemed like from the 3 like decks that they chose for story modes, they haven't done something past the Arc 5 era, so nothing from the Zexo era and backwards. But maybe that's set to change once we get a little bit more information in regards to what other story modes could potentially be added into Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. And I'm just gonna say this, I am really holding out for a Crystron storyline. For people that are unaware, the Crystron archetype is personally my favorite archetype in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And to think that that could be a potential candidate to get its own story mode in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel makes me beyond excited. I would love to see a storyline based on the Crystron archetype, and it seems like it could be a possibility, since Qliphorts and Gem Knights, for that matter as well, both debuted during the Pendulum era or the Arc 5 era, wherever in the world you want to call it. So there is a good chance that that could happen, and I would also just love to see like even older decks and archetypes like that to also get their own stories. Maybe they can do a storyline based off of like Dark Magician and stuff like that, and do a whole story based around that. Like, the possibilities for what they can do for this story mode is insane, and I'm really excited to see what they're gonna do for this story mode. And I'm honestly pretty excited just to learn about the stories that we already know. I mean, I already know a lot when it comes to the World Legacy storyline, because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I actually watched the whole presentation for the World Legacy deck storyline, so I already know most about that story, but I didn't look into, you know, the Qliphort one and the Gem Knight one. So I'm very excited to learn about those storylines and see what that's all about. And just, again, the potential of what other archetypes and decks can potentially get a storyline in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. But obviously, we're going to have to wait and see once we get a little bit more information on if we're going to get any more, and if we are, what are some other archetypes that is going to get their own story mode. But that's essentially all that we know when it comes to this. They also did, like I mentioned earlier, showed off gameplay of the story mode more for World Legacy. They did show one for Qliphort and for the Gem Knight deck as well. I didn't look into those two, but I did look into the World Legacy one, and the story mode was pretty long, which makes sense. World Legacy is a very long deck. I mean, they have a whole bunch of sub-archetypes. They have the Crusader archetype, they have the Mech Knights, they have, you know, the Crawlers, they have a whole bunch of different decks. You even have, like, the World Legacy pieces that are involved with this story as well. So, obviously, that story is going to be massive, and I watched the entire thing, and I enjoyed enjoy it from what I saw for the most part. It doesn't look like they're going to be like animated. They're just going to be showing the card artworks and they're just going to be explaining the story, which I'm completely fine with that. I don't think they needed to do full-on cutscenes because maybe there wouldn't be really an easy way to be able to do that, but just the way that they're doing this, honestly, I'm completely fine with that. I have no issue whatsoever with them just showing card artworks and basically explaining the storyline of these different archetypes in their stories. So I am very excited to see where they go with this Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel story mode, but with that being said, that's going to be it for the story mode portion of this video. But before I actually end off this video, I do want to talk about some things in regards to, you know, the card accessibility when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. And this topic is just going to be quick. I'm not going to really go much into it, but from what it seems like when it comes to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card database, in order to get access to these cards, you're going to have to do it in a similar fashion to Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, to where you either have to buy it with your real-life money or have to do it through a gem system, because during this presentation as well, we did learn that there's going to be a gem system in this game as well, which I will say, the gems actually look pretty cool in this game, and I'm going to be honest, I actually like the gems in the Master Duel game more than Duel Links, but that's honestly just my personal feelings on that. But in regards to them doing a Duel Links system with this game, I'm honestly not really happy with it at all. I understand that Konami has to make a profit with this game, and this is the only reason why they're doing this, because with how much money they have put into this game, I mean, they had to put in quite a bit of money based off the animations of cards attacking each other, to even the animations of cards being summoned onto the field, like, you know, your El Shaddoll Construct, your Stardust Dragon, your Utopias. All of those cards have their own animations that they had to put money into, so obviously they have to be able to make their money back somehow, and instead of just making this a $60 game and just give us all the cards right off the bat, they decided, you know what, we're just gonna give you guys this game, but if you want to have access to all of these cards, you're gonna have to either pay it through the gem system, or you're gonna have to pay real life money, which more than likely you're gonna be playing with real life money, because of the fact that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Training card game and the official training card game right now, or the official card game, excuse me, official training card game, that's hilarious actually, there are more than 10,000 cards in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And those 10,000 or more are all unique, and if you want to get 3 copies of every card, good luck with that. You're going to have a rough time being able to get 3 copies of every card, and it sucks. I mean, I do not like the fact that they're doing this system. I would have rather just paid like a $60 like fee to get this game and have access to everything. Hell, and you might think I sound insane for this, I would pay like $80 up to $100 even for this game if you give us access to 3 copies of every card in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it's worth it at that point. Like, think about how much money you have to spend in the physical card game today. I mean, you have to spend a whole bunch of money for the physical training card game, and the fact that you can get a video game that is $100 and you get access to 3 copies of every card in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Would be great. That would be just a dream to be able to pay for something like that. And yeah, $100 seems a lot for a video game. For how much it's giving you, plus even adding an additional story mode to it, that's a lot of content, and honestly, I think it's worth it, in my opinion. Of course, obviously, you guys might think it's just worth $60. Hell, I feel like some people would think it's $40, but I wouldn't go down that low. I mean, the animations and stuff, I feel like is enough to at least boost it up to a $60 price tag, but obviously, this is not the route that they went. They decided to go the Duel Links route, to where you either have to pay physical money, or you have to pay through gems. Does it suck? Absolutely, but it makes the most sense, and I'm going to be honest, not surprised that this was the route they were going to do. I mean, again, they have to make a profit off this game somehow, and obviously the best way to make the most profit out of this game is to make it to where people have to pay a whole bunch of money to get access to every single card in the card database, which sucks. But this is Konami we're talking about. I am not surprised whatsoever that this was the route they went. But obviously, that's just my opinions. I would love to know your guys' thoughts on this whole situation with having to either pay real-life money or gems to get access to all of these cards down in the description below. But with that being said, that's going to be it for this Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the story mode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Do you like the way they're doing this story mode? Do you think the story mode is going to be okay? Or are you not really interested in the story mode and you think the story mode is going to be bad? And if you are into this story mode, let me know what archetype you want to see get a storyline in the story mode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Would love to know your guys' choices of what you want to see in this story mode, and just your thoughts on, once again, the whole thing with you having to pay money, whether it's gems or real-life money, to get access to these cards. I would love to know your guys' thoughts on that whole situation as well down below. But with that being said, that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, guys, take care and have yourselves a great rest of your day.